Well, good morning or good afternoon to everyone, depending on what part of the country you are calling in from. I'd like to welcome you to the Finance of America Renovation Lending Overview. And in this webinar today, I say buckle up because we got a lot of things we're going through, and I am super excited about what we are going to be sharing with you. So, a couple of housekeeping things. First of all, you can listen two different ways. We do have all of you muted because I know you all get on your phones and then I have to listen to you. And you're multitasking, and I know that's how you are. So I do have you all muted, but you can ask questions. And so two different ways that you can ask questions. And one is to type in the Q&A box. The other is to type in the chat box. So both of those will get the questions to me, and we'll be able to answer those for you. And let's go ahead and do a quick sound check. Make sure you all can hear us. Make sure you all know how to ask the questions, and we can answer those. So if you can type in either the Q&A box or the chat box, let me know what part of the country you are calling in from. And I always love hearing how the weather is. I am in Portland, Oregon today, and I tell you what, it feels like it's like November here. I'm tempted to put my my furnace on at home, but I'm going
Wow.
to hold off. It's cold. I tell you what, it's cold and rainy and blustery, and I'm wondering where the heck our fall was at because we have not seen it.
I got it. I got it in Indiana. We're having great. It's in the mid 70s in the daytime, low 60s at night, breezy, sunny. It's perfect. So
Yeah,
we
yep,
yep.
yep, yep. Yeah.
Sorry.
So I'm seeing someone thought this was going to be this. Yes, it is. It's a reminder of how to conduct your own realtor workshop, Kim. So we're going to get through that. It starts right now, 11 o'clock Pacific time. So you're on, you're live. So handouts, we got a lot of them. And I'm going to post everything up here in your chat box. And you can access all of the links there. I'm also going to send out an email tomorrow. It'll come from me. It'll have all of these links and a copy of this recording so you can go back and listen to it. So I'll take a quick minute, introduce myself and our guest, William Brown. My name is Ginger Bell. I'm an Edu Marketing Specialist and have the pleasure of working with William Brown, who's the National Renovation Sales Manager for Finance of America, for a lot of webinars. And so we've been through this before, and we decided what we wanted to do today. And William, thank you so much for hopping on. I know you're just as excited about doing this as I am. So we've got lots of great tools to talk about. Our goal today is to provide you with tools that you can use to conduct your own realtor lunch and learn presentations, webinars, workshops, whatever it is you want to do. Doing it with realtors, doing it with consumers. So we have a lot of different material we're going to give you. The first thing is we have a presentation, and we're going to actually run through that presentation on a very high level with you. It is an overview of renovation. So the idea, and William, when you put this together, the idea of the slide deck was to give enough information for realtors to know about the program, but not so much that they get inundated and scared, and maybe you get caught up in questions, right?
Right. We wanted this just to be a reason to talk to them. And those that are interested will be interested. And those that aren't, they just came for lunch. So we didn't want you to be so far into the weeds and feel like you have to know everything there is to know about renovation lending in order to do the presentation. You just stick to the high points, and then later in one-on-one conversations, you can develop relationships and rapport with the realtors that are interested in presenting the product to their customers.
Right. So the idea is to just lay the foundation, establish you as the expert, and really that's it. Anything that we put together as far as material for you to use with your realtors, with consumers, is to establish you as the expert. Doesn't mean you need to know everything. And one of the things that I learned when I started doing compliance training back when we were going through all of our regulatory changes, I would be terrified not to know an answer to something. And I was doing a lot of presentations with attorneys because it was compliance. And was absolutely amazed because they would say, you know what, that's a great question. Let me think about it, or let me get back to you on that, or let me check into that, or you know what, that's a little bit longer than what we can cover here. So let me get back with you. So they had ways of being able to dodge the question if they didn't know the answer and come back to it, so you don't say, I don't know. And that's one of the
Right.
biggest things, I think. And I know, William, I mean, you've been doing this for years, and there's still questions you get that you have to look into the guides or you have to ask someone, right?
There are, and I actually keep a little pad on the podium if I'm making a live presentation, and if they get a question, I make a note of writing it down and getting their information so I can follow up with them with the question.
Exactly. So be able to get back to them with an answer later. But, the idea is, if you have a question, don't say, I don't know. Just say, you know what, that's a great question. It's a little more detailed than what we can get into right now. So let me get back with you on it.
Right.
Or I'm going to, put it in the parking lot and we'll come back to you. Or,
Exactly.
you know what, that's a great question. I'm going to look into the guides, whatever. But just don't say, I don't know. Just say, let me look into that, or we don't have time. So those kind of things.
Right.
And, the idea in doing this is to be able to facilitate conversation, really to create awareness, and to be able to do that, and let realtors know that, especially on the 203K, because the 203K is, it's had a bad rap for many years. And it really shouldn't, because it's a great product. And so you want to make sure and put them at ease with that. So in the slide deck, I also included a slide for you to insert your name, your company, your NMLS ID number, your phone, your email, your website, whatever you want to put in there. I put that in. So you just have to fill in the blank. And then there's a place for you to embed your photo. And you guys, let me know how comfortable you are with presentations. I actually helped someone out the other day embed a video in a PowerPoint, and she had never done that. So, if there's things that we can do to help you to be more comfortable, even in just working with PowerPoint, let me know. If that's a webinar that we need to do, type in the Q&A, type in the question box, let me know if that's something we can do, because knowing that is very powerful. I always say I got into doing a lot of training because I knew how to make a PowerPoint presentation, but it's one of those things. So the other thing, when we put together the slide deck, we added this because you want to be able to let realtors know why it's important for them to know about renovation lending. And so really, again, establishing that having knowledge builds value, and they don't need to know everything about the renovation loan. They need to know it's available. They need to know that it shows value and adds that for potential clients in the marketplace. And just having that basic knowledge of how the FHA 203K and how the home style renovation program loans work can give them a competitive advantage. So, you're going to arm them with enough to be dangerous, and then they can call you and let you know that you got somebody on board. And it looks like I'm going to post all the stuff up here again. People are asking where the slide deck is, so I'll post it a couple more times. So if you're looking for the material, it's in your chat box, and I'm also going to send a follow-up email, so you can grab everything there. The other thing is, hey, it's not just for buyers. Sellers love knowing that a real estate agent has a strategy. So, the average age of homes today is over 65 years old. So there's a lot, and you probably know this too, there's a lot of property out there that needs some TLC. So for a real estate agent to be able to go in and talk to a realtor or talk to a seller and say, hey, let's have a strategy on this. You don't have to fix up the home. We can, and I did this years ago when we started doing training on 203K. I had a friend who could not sell. It was an ugly house. The kitchen was like from 1945, and it wasn't selling, had been on the market for like 9 months. And so I said, you know what? Let's go to Home Depot. Let's get a whole bunch of samples. Let's get a whole bunch of little designing books, and let's make up a sign that says ugly kitchen, no problem. You can remodel and you choose. And so she did that, had an open house, and had 3 offers that day. And instead of people walking into the kitchen, the very ugly kitchen, and rolling their eyes and walking out, now they're opening the books and they're talking about, hey, maybe we can do, this over here. And what if we did this? And we could knock out that wall. So it kind of created that HGTV show where people could think about what to do. And also then, of course, laying the foundation that it gives them a competitive advantage. And I've talked to a lot of realtors. ReMax is one of my clients that I do training at every month in Denver with a lot of their franchisees. And if they are looking for picking up listings, just following those expired listings, and especially those that have been on the market for a long time and maybe are coming up, they can go in, talk to those sellers, and create a strategy to be able to, again, do the same thing. It's like, let's make this into an opportunity for people to decide what they want to do, because they can do that, and we have options for that. So those are the things that you can do as far as leveraging, and again, laying that foundation on why realtors need to know that this program is available, that you have the knowledge and you can help with it, and why they need to pay attention. The next part of the presentation, and I'm going to turn it over to William for this, is, hey, what is a renovation loan? So William, I'll let you go into covering this part of the slide deck and what they should cover.
Okay, so I was just, when like we said, we made this just to be high level, right? So you don't want to really be down in the weeds with all the particulars. They need to understand, the realtors do that, it's a single closed transaction. Everything is in it, there's a purchase and the payoff, so it's not like a construction loan where there's two closings. It's single close. It's going to finance all the renovation costs. And what really makes it work for them is the after improved value of the property, because usually, like I've been doing this for about 15 years, and the average is probably 5% equity is what people gain over, when they do a renovation loan. So that's, and there's some people get more, some people get less, but that's probably an average is 5 to 7%, and that they can use for purchase or refinances. So on a realtor's perspective, why would I do a refi? It's maybe because the guy wants to sell his house, but you can't list it for what he needs to get out of it. So he's going to refi and do a renovation loan. That's part of your realtor strategy to help him solve his problem, which is how does he get out of the house with enough money that he needs to make for it.
Right.
So, right. Those are kind of general ideas, and really simple, smart, and safe. It's simple to do. It's complicated because it's got a renovation, but in general, it's simpler than other options. I think it's a pretty smart thing to do because the buyers are getting not only equity, but they're getting the house the way they want it. So as realtors, you get to present them the opportunity to build their dream house. Okay. And it's safe for most buyers because it's one mortgage. And ideally, they get all the costs rolled into their mortgage. It's a payment they can manage, and they're not nickel and diming themselves into deeper and deeper debt, if they're just trying to do it on their own.
Right. And the thing of it is too, you can't see it on the slide deck I'm showing you, but on the slide deck that you're getting, and it's an open PowerPoint presentation, guys. It is not a PDF. So you can brand it, you can put your logo in, you can do all kinds of things to it. But in the presentation, there's notes. And so William has put in here and spent a lot of time doing this for you, the notes that you need. So you can actually print it off. And I would recommend to always, read through it, get comfortable with it, know what you're saying. But there's notes in here that goes through more than what's on the slide deck. So talking about it's a single close, it's fully amortized, it's one application, one approval process, one closing. So those are your talking points. And that's what's great about this too, is it's really giving you what you need to do an entire presentation.
Right. Okay, so then the realtors need to know why they need renovation loans. Really, it lets them show fewer homes, okay? And then it gives them options when they're faced with listings that need repairs. One of Ginger's earlier slides said that the borrowers and sellers love the strategy, like to know. Well, Fannie Mae knows for a fact from interviewing a lot of realtors, a lot of borrowers, that when their realtor didn't present to them the option of a renovation loan, they felt like the realtor didn't do very good service for them.
Right.
So, but for your perspective, if you can show me fewer houses based on your research of what I'm looking for, it's more efficient for you. And, eventually you'll make more money because you can do more customers.
Exactly.
Another thing that they need to understand is stale listing. So I always ask them, like, who are the listing agents in the room? And then people raise their hand and ask them what they consider to be a stale listing and how many they have, what percentage they have go stale. And you can talk to them about the fact that if it's a stale listing, that means something is wrong with the house. All right. It's probably not priced right, and or it needs repairs or remodeling. So marketing it as renovation financing available, and you can co-market with them, And I think there might be some, I know we did some yard signs, and they may be available through one of our platforms. I'm not sure which, but you can co-brand it with the realtor that says renovation financing available. Right? That's big for listing agents. And everybody has deals that fall apart at the appraisal. Like I just field them from the retail, our scenarios desk. We get 1 or 2 a week that are falling apart because of the appraisal. Right? And so they're turning them into a renovation loan. And then it all comes back to the realtor being the person who helps the home buyer create their dream home. That's the value that they're adding. It's not just selling me a house, but you've turned me on to something that lets me get the house the way that I want it.
Right. And then you go, and again, high level. So we don't want to get into so much detail, but just kind of let them know what the process is, right?
Exactly. So they always want to know about the contract, and it's just, you do your job, you write it for the sales price. When they say, well, what about the loan amount? It's bigger. I said, well, it depends on the contract because they're different all over the country. But basically, the contract is written for the sales price. And then the borrower gets additional money for the reno. And if your seller's making concessions, he's tied to the sales price, not the after improved value, right? So his 3% or whatever he's going to kick in is tied to the sales price. The buyer's down payment is on the total acquisition because we're lending them the money. So that goes into the LTV calculation. And we hold the money and we disperse it as the work is done. And we allow up to 50% of the material costs to be paid to the contractor. It takes about a week before those checks are processed and out to the contractor.
So again, here's the best thing, and I know, William, we've talked about this time and time again. For the realtors, they get paid.
They get paid.
So they're done with the transaction. They move on. The contractors get, the contractors can get started on the work. They're going to get half of the money within, a week to 2 weeks tops. And then they can get started on that work immediately. So just putting them at ease and knowing that, hey, it's the same kind of transaction that you're used to doing. Nothing changes for you, the realtor.
Right.
And so that's one of the main things in putting them at ease. And then again, going through how it works. Single close, the seller doesn't make the repairs, all those kind of things. I always say this is a team sport. So, the consumer is going to be involved. They're going to pick out who they want the work to get done. And then the realtor is going to close. And then the next team comes in. And so then the contractors are going to get started on the work. And so, it's an opportunity really to kind of create your own kind of HGTV show where it's like you're doing the same kind of thing, right?
Right. Lots of opportunity for marketing. So there's a little bit of they need to know how many people. And I try and stress that the borrower really has to man up, put on their big girl panties or whatever, and go find the contractor. And I try to discourage the realtors from finding contractors for them, because then the borrower doesn't own that process and they're not invested in that relationship. They're still tied to the realtor because the realtor provided it. Or loan officers, if you provide contractors and the deal goes south, heaven help you because it was your guy. But on a limited, they can have 3 tradespeople. They all get paid separately when they're done. A standard requires, and home style both require 1 general contractor. And then 203K uses consultants, HUD consultants, which we manage. And then on a home style, we use a third-party company that does a project review and a builder review, and then they do all the draws and on-site inspections. But we manage the funds at Finance of America.
Right. So we have a question I'm going to throw in here right now. Jill's asking if you can speak a bit about, and again, an advantage for realtors when a home value comes in low, how it would work that a renovation loan could be used.
Sure. So your value comes in low, and it probably comes in low for a reason. And probably at least half the time the reason is the property condition. It may be dated, may need repairs, whatever. Something is off with the property. So if you restructure as a renovation loan, we're going to add the cost of those repairs, but we're going to get another appraisal that's going to be a subject to value appraisal, so the comps are going to be different, right? And usually they work. And I don't know, it's a mystery to me, and I don't even fret about the appraisal on renovation loans because they almost always work. And if they don't work, we just recalculate the number and come back and either lower the purchase price or lower the amount of repairs so that they work. So there's more flexibility with the renovation loan than there is with the regular straight purchase.
Right. And that's the idea too, because if it does come in low, you're still going to have those renovations that are in there that are going to help to
Yep.
be able to pick that up a little bit. So let's talk about appraisals.
Okay, so the appraisals, we're only going to get one, um, unless it's a refinance, but we're not talking about those because we're talking to realtors. So for predominantly on purchases, we're just getting one appraisal, and it's going to tell me the after improved value. And so they're using comps that are going to be what the house is going to be like after it's done. Right. So if you guys, and talking to realtors, because a lot of times they're involved in values and comps, then they have to actually, you can't pull comps for what the house looks like as it sits. If I'm going to put 50 grand in it, you got to go look at another house that is updated or modernized or change the floor plan or whatever I'm doing to match where I'm going to be. And that's what the appraisers do. And we order the appraisal after we get the final bid. So unlike regular purchases, guys, try not to call me in a week, and say, have you ordered the appraisal yet? Because I probably haven't, because I have to wait for the borrower to figure out their contractor and get their bid, because I need to tell the appraiser what's going to change. So that's a subject to repairs or as completed value appraisal. So that's another lag. That's different, in a regular purchase transaction where you sign your purchase agreement, you order your appraisal, you get your title going, you're headed to the table. Well, there's a gap in here before we can order the appraisal, because we have to get.
I'm thinking too, maybe what we can do, William, is to maybe create a visual flow of how it works for them.
Okay.
And that might be a video we can create too. So let's talk about that. Because I was just thinking about, as you're talking through the process, that is a little bit different, that the appraisal is not ordered right away. Because I know realtors a lot of times are like, okay, let's get this ordered. No, we need to do this first. So that might be a good video for us to do. While we're talking about appraisals and there's inspections involved, we have a question: how much do they charge per inspection, and is it built into the price?
So there, yes, at first it's built into the price. Anything connected to the renovation it's financed. So, and I'm not sure off the top of my head what the fees are, because I'd have to look at the worksheet. They're set fees depending on the product, because we use a national vendor, but they're part of the renovation cost. And we will do, on a limited, we will do one inspection for each builder if they have 3. And on a standard or home style, they can have up to 5 inspections, 5 draws, and then we'd have an inspection at each draw. So but they're financed into the loan, so it's not really it has to be what the borrower can afford, but not out of pocket.
Right. And another question, just real quick while we're here, is what's the definition of a general contractor? What if the buyer has a family member that is a handyman?
Yeah, so if you have a family member that's a handyman, he's got to be licensed and insured, whatever his municipality requires. But if he's related to the borrower, we're going to require the borrower to get another bid from somebody who's not related to them, because we have to fund the escrow as if the relative broke their leg and couldn't finish it.
There you go.
We don't do self-help, though. So if the guy's a builder, he's got to get one of his buddies to do it. He can't do it himself.
Yeah. So there you go. That's a big thing. Number one, and I'm seeing comments from a lot of our audience saying a visual flow would be good. So we will work on that.
Okay.
Maybe we'll just make we'll do a follow-up. And we know all of you who are on here, you special people who are on here. So we'll make sure and do that and work on a graphic for you. And then I think I'll make a video for it too, because I love videos.
Okay.
So let's talk about qualification, how hard it is to qualify. And again, you're not going to get into everything they need to know, but I think just having a general understanding so that they know is important as well.
Right. So the thing about qualifying the borrower is that we're qualifying them for their loan amount just as on a regular purchase. If the most I could borrow is $300,000, then that's the most I can borrow, whether I buy it as is, as it sits, or if I do a renovation loan. The difference is, if I do a renovation loan, my offer might be 180, and I might be borrowing another 100 to put into it.
Right.
Okay, so I'm still going to be 3.5% for an FHA, or 3 or 5% Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae makes the distinction between first-time home buyers. They allow a 3% down payment, so it's a little sweeter deal than the FHA, and 5% if they're not a first-time home buyer, which means they haven't been on title for 36 months. Our minimum FICO is 620. They all have to be DU approve eligible. Fannie Mae, the DTI follows the findings. On the 203K, it's up to 51% without compensating factors. And if their DTI exceeds 51, then the underwriter has a grid of 5 or 6 compensating factors. They have to get 3 of the 5 to do that. And both products are high balance eligible wherever they are. They're all conforming or high balance or FHA limit, but there's no jumbo product.
Right. So one quick question before we leave this part, just some clarification on inspections. The question is, so an inspection is required every time a worker does something on the property.
So what happens is I have a scope of work that the borrower, that I'm the homeowner, I'm going to have done, right? And so if it's a limited and I have an HVAC guy, a plumber, and I'm putting carpet in, when the HVAC is installed and running, we would schedule an inspection. The appraiser comes out, he verifies that it's on the pad, it's running, thermostat works, and I'm happy, and he signs off on it. Then we pay it. If it's a standard or a home style, then the general contractor and the borrower figure out when he's ready for one of his, draws. He has 5 draws, and so when he's ready for one, they will call us, and we will schedule the inspection to go out, do an on-site inspection, figure out what percentage of the job is done. So on my $100,000 example, my builder might do a draw after $28,000 worth of work was done. And then he would come back and do another one when $65,000 worth of work was done. And it's by percentage, and they agree on what's done, what the homeowner's happy with, and then they request the funds.
So we're getting a question too from Carlita. What are the best practices when handling contractor and borrower discussions? Since we're not the rehab loan expert, but just handle general info, clients direct plenty of rehab process questions to a broker.
So I encourage loan originators to stick to the financials. And I never felt obligated to engage my borrowers when I was originating deeply on their renovation questions, aside from the process. I can tell the process of what's going to happen to get your loan to the table and closing, and what's going to happen after closing. But if you have other general questions about your rehab with your contractor, I don't really have the answers for those as a loan officer, because it's not my business, right? So the borrower has to pick their contractor. He should be vetted. The borrower should make sure that they're comfortable with them. The bank should, whatever lender you're using, should do a background check to make sure that there's no reason for the contractor not to be part of the transaction. And the bid needs to be broken down in material and labor, and we manage that. So one advantage of working with us, which might help answer your question, we assign a project manager to every renovation loan. So your processor is just doing the credit stuff, right? So when you're talking to realtors, they need to understand there's enough, like Ginger said, there's a team. So there's you, the loan originator. There's us, the lender you're going to broker the loan to. You have your processor. We assign a project manager who has wealth of experience with renovation loans, who will work directly with the buyer and the contractor and answer all those kind of questions about the project.
So again, this is why I say it's a team sport, because one of the greatest advantages of working with Finance of America on your rehab loans is you have someone on your team, and you can set that up. So when you're doing your realtor presentations, you can say one of the advantages of working with me, an independent mortgage broker, is that I work with one of the best renovation loan experts, companies, whatever you want to call wholesalers in the industry, and you will be assigned, your clients will actually be assigned their own project manager. So any questions that they have, they're going to be able to work with their project manager, and that project manager will talk to your borrower and you and the realtor and the contractors, and even get you all on one phone call and have those planned meetings, so you really are involved. So you don't have to feel, again, it's not that you have to know everything. You just have to know you have someone on your team, and that's one of the advantages of working with Finance of America. So guys, I'm seeing a lot of questions as far as actual product questions, which is great. And I want to get to those, but I do want to get through all the material. So I'm going to hold off on your questions to the very end so we can get through the rest of this material. Keep typing them in, that's fine. And then we'll get through all of this. So I want to get through this, and then we'll go to Q&A.
I want to say one thing real quickly, Ginger, as far as the team. You guys can talk to your account execs, and they'll connect you up with me if you have questions, or you want to know how to structure your deal, or you're going to do a presentation and you're nervous about it. just connect to your account exec. They'll connect you with me. And I like you to connect with them because then they know we're having the conversation. And I'd be happy to help you. I do that all the time.
Yeah, and again, one of the advantages as well. So having that team in place is very important. Okay, so again, this is your presentation. So what do they need to do? And that gets into asking the question.
Right. I came upon this question after a couple of years of making realtor presentations and not having a definitive call to action for them. So what I really want them to do after the presentation is be willing to ask the borrower if they'd be willing to write an offer, if they can include the costs of whatever. Okay? Because if they don't ask them the question, the borrower goes away, there's a likelihood they still don't know that there's a renovation loan option and they're showing them more houses. So I just tell the realtors, like the real estate process is, if I come to them as a buyer, they interview me and they write down a checklist of everything I say I'm looking for: price point, layout, neighborhood, location to amenities, all this stuff. And then they go in their their listing service, and they pick a couple houses to show me. And usually the first 3 houses are like 85 to 95% of what I said I wanted. But they still show me 15 or 20 houses. And I keep asking realtors when I make presentations, how many houses do you show people? And they all sheepishly say a lot. And I say, like, is that 10, 12, 14, 15? I say, yeah, somewhere around there. Okay, and that's all across the country, unless it's a hot market, right, where there's houses are just, they can't keep them. So you need them to be comfortable enough with you and the product. Ask the borrower if they'd be willing to write the offer, if they could fix whatever it is that means they're going to get in my car and I'm going to show you another house. Because really, the house I showed you is your house. It's just not your kitchen. But you can fix your kitchen.
Yeah, so again, it's thinking about if you have your own HGTV show to be able to say, okay, what would you fix about this house? And that's what they do. It's like they take the house. It's like the fixer-upper with the gains. And, you know, they find the houses that it's like, okay, this is not perfect, but it's got good bones.
Right.
So what would you fix about it? And being able to set it up to where your realtors can have those conversations. And even with your sellers, it's like so many times, like if I'm selling my home, I don't want to fix up the kitchen now and not enjoy it. So why not a renovation loan? And then somebody can get what they want. And so many times that happens where, you know, the sellers fix something up and then the buyers come in and say, well, I don't like it. So they're going to fix it anyway. So those are the kind of things.
Right.
And so, oh, we're getting a question. We'll be able to see a list of all the questions asked during the presentation. We have some FAQs. I don't usually share the questions and y'all can't see them. So unfortunately, Sam, no, you can't see the questions, but we will read them out and we can put together an FAQ if you'd like one. Okay, so this is the core of the presentation that you're going to go through. And so again, the idea is to lay the foundation with your realtors and to have them think about, they don't have to know about everything on the 203K or the home style, but they do have to know that it's available and that they can call you and that you have a team in place. So that's really the takeaway here, to be able to do that. So I'm going to move on. So that's the core of your presentation. Now let's talk about how to set up realtor presentations. And if you can type in the Q&A or the chat box, let me know how many of you are doing or have done realtor presentations in the past, or you're doing them right now. Because there's a process that you're going to go through, obviously, in setting up that invitation to do your presentation. First of all, is to share with them that you have a product available. And I see some of you have done them, some of you haven't done them. So you want to let them know that you have a presentation you want to come in and you want to share with them about the benefits of being able to help them sell more homes. Okay, so again, they want to see what the benefit is. And so what I've done is you want to set up a date and time and location. You want to set a meeting invitation. And so I recommend, instead of just doing a standard email, to use a platform to be able to handle the registration. And so the registration platform that I love and I use, and it's free, is called Eventbrite. And let me know how many of you have used this. platform. And if you haven't used it, if you would like for us to do a webinar on how to use Eventbrite. It's not complicated, but there are some little nuances about it. And I actually have a presentation I can do because I teach account executives how to use it. So let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in, learning how to use Eventbrite to set up your invitations. And we can do that as well. I know it's hard to think about, okay, Ginger, this is great. What am I going to write in my invitation? And so what I've done is I've actually given you an invitation template. So I manage a lot of different presentations for my clients. I rate these almost daily. And so what I did is wrote up an invitation template. All you have to do is copy and paste this. And I put information in there. And it says, make home buyers' dreams come true. Because remember, we're inviting realtors, so we want to have them say what's in it for them, so you can get them to your presentation. And then I put there, turning fixer-upper homes into dream homes with Renovation Home Loans. And this is interesting. And so again, statistics. I love statistics because it validates what you're talking about. So this is according to a recent report by Land Gorilla. Nearly 65% of homes are more than 25 years old. That's a huge percentage. And that's across the country. Some are more, some are less, but that's an average. Many of these older homes need updates, need renovations, need repairs. Today's buyers face limited inventory, and we know that. And I just saw a post come through that the feds have cut interest rates by another 0.25%. So yay, we're all doing a happy dance on that. But good news, bad news, we know that that's going to have an effect on our inventory as well. So being able to come in and to be able to present this is important. And so then I go into, there's renovation home loan options available, make it easy for buyers to qualify for a home, fix it up to become their dream home. And so then I put in here, join name, that's you, so please change that. And with your company, so change that. And learn highlights about renovation home loan options available today. I always like to put in there, what are they going to learn? So in this session, you will learn, 1, what today's renovation home loans look like. What types of renovations can be completed, renovation loan options for investment properties, why you need renovation loans. You don't want to miss this session, register today, and then put in there who should attend. And so, so you can use this. And so that's your invitation. And you want to make sure and engage with your audience before the event. So William and I did a video, and some of you may be on because of that video. We did a video prior to today, posted it on social. And it was just a 2-minute video. It was a highlight about what we were going to talk about today. And then we just posted that. You could email it out to them. But I always recommend doing something to be able to let your attendees know what you're going to be talking to them about beforehand. So it could just be a quick little video. You know, you could do it on your phone, and it could just, you know, go through, you know, hey, this is Ginger Bell, and I'm excited to be able to meet with you on, you know, September 19th to share with you the things you're going to be able to do on a renovation loan. Look forward to seeing you. Something simple. Send them that video and tell them what you're going to be covering. I have found that your attendance goes up when you send some kind of a video or some kind of a follow-up. And I know you all hate doing videos because I talk about this all the time. But it's a matter of just getting over it and getting familiar with it. So just like the Eventbrite, if you all would like to know how to do videos, and William Yoon and I talked about this yesterday, you know, getting lighting, getting the right colors of shirts you're wearing, you know, getting comfortable, then, you know, those kind of things are important. But video definitely does engage. So think about that. And then the next thing after your presentation, follow up with them. Follow up with your attendees and do it immediately. Give them a call. Pick up the phone, give them a call, and just say, hey, you know, thanks so much for, you know, attending the session. Do you have any questions that I can answer for you? And, can I do any follow-up? Is there anyone I can, can I help you with? Can, we set up an open house? Do you have any homes that would, be good to be able to, think about doing a renovation home? But call them up and follow up with them. The thing I love about Eventbrite, it actually sets up to where you can have an automated email follow-up, so you can set that up ahead of time and to do that. And then check with them to find out how they're utilizing it. Ask them if they're having conversations with their buyers and sellers about the possibility. But just to be able to have that follow-up is very important. And then engage on social. So if you belong to any kind of groups, if there's anything that you're doing as far as social for your realtors, make sure and engage with them. Do a Facebook Live and cover the renovation loans. Be able to just answer, just brief questions. And if you do a Facebook Live, you can do an open Q&A. And, if you're not that comfortable with it, hey, talk to your Finance of America account executive. I know a lot of them that would be happy to hop on something with you to be able to answer some questions. So, think about those kind of things to be able to do that. Engage with realtors, engage with consumers. Share in your groups that you belong to if there's different realtor groups. And it can be something as simple as, oh my gosh, I just got off a fantastic webinar, learned how to do presentations on the renovation loans. Who wants one? Those are the kind of things you can do. Yeah. And ask others to share. You can start a renovation podcast. And so I just started doing a podcast a couple months ago. And so, you can talk about renovation loans. You can start an entire podcast on it and use that to be able to invite realtors in and invite, contractors in. I mean, there's so many things you can do with it. And then share videos on how-tos and top tips and things like that. And so we've created a couple of videos that we're giving to you. So they're in the links. I'm going to post them again here, and I'm going to show them. The first one is a realtor reno video. So I made this very generic. You can brand it to yourself. And this is the realtor video. So I think you'll be able to hear there's some jazzy music on it. So take a look and see what this is that we made for you. Okay, so that's the realtor reno video. So this kind of video you can use, and you can send that out to people who are registered for the for your presentation. You can post it on social, or whatever you want to do. And the idea is to be able to get them thinking about renovation loans. And then the second thing I made for you is a consumer renovation video. So again, you can post this, you can email this out to consumers. So it speaks a little bit different about renovation to a home maybe that they're looking at. Okay, so two videos that we're giving you that you can use. And he said the volume got really low. That's the video. It's just music. So when you click on it, you'll be able to hear it. So using the videos. So what I recommend is you could do an intro and an outro video. So you do an intro video of yourself, just introducing yourself. Hi, my name is Ginger. I'm with ABC Mortgage, and I'd like you to watch this video. And then your outro video, same thing. Thanks for watching the video. My name is Ginger Bell. Hey, you can reach me at the link below. And then you can put those two videos together and use the in-between video and then post that on social. Now, I love your comments. I'm glad you guys love the videos. This is like my new passion. So, and I'm going to tell you why. We'll get off topic for a little bit, but videos convert. 95% of videos are the message on videos are retained. And so being able to use videos in your marketing is important. And I just did a presentation at NAM National in Vegas on this. And in preparing for the presentation, I said, okay, what's out there right now? So I honestly just typed into Google and I typed in, what is a mortgage? Or how do I get a mortgage? And when I typed that into Google, you'd think a lot would come up. Honestly, guys, the whole first page were ads. Who do you think the ads were? Quicken, Loan Depot, all that kind of stuff, right? And then down below, there was like a few, maybe some information on how to get a mortgage from somebody that maybe typed something on their blog back in 2012. There was not one video. So I typed in, okay, because consumers, they actually think, so Ellie Mae did a survey last year and they surveyed renters. Two things from the survey that really stood out to me. The first thing is almost half of those surveyed, 48.6%, thought you needed 20% or more for a down payment. And almost 80% of those surveyed thought you need a 700 or higher credit score to qualify for a mortgage. And so they don't know. And we're doing a horrible job of educating consumers. And we're talking about realtors today. That's a whole nother topic. So when I was doing this and preparing for the presentation, I typed into Google, how much money do I need for a down payment? I saw exactly the same thing. Whole first page is ads, Quicken, Loan Depot, all that kind of crap. And there was not one video. Do you know when I typed into Google how to bake a cake, there was nothing but videos. People can go onto Google and type in how to bake a cake and watch a video, but the most important financial transaction of their life, we're not showing them what they need and how to qualify and what the process is and all that kind of thing. So I'm all about videos right now and anything we can do to help you through that. So feedback is good. We want to hear your feedback on this. If you would like to know how to do your intro videos, your outro videos, and how to put them all together or help with that, type in, let me know, shoot me an email. You all have my email address because I sent you out the information for this. We want to make sure that we're helping you to be able to utilize these tools. And that's really a lot of it is, guys, we're here to help. We want to help you to shine and to be able to understand not just the details of the programs. You don't have to know every single one of the ins and outs of the programs, but I want you armed enough to be dangerous, and I want you to promote yourself, and I want you to educate. And so we're here to help. We've built some marketing campaigns. There's flyers that are available in FAMU that you can brand to yourself. That is absolutely fabulous. We're giving you the slide deck, the videos, the invitation, all those kind of things. We want you to be able to go out and to share your expertise. And so our goal is to give you those tools. All the resources you can find in FAMU. If you are not signed up for FAMU, it's FAM's university for wholesale. And we have hundreds of recordings in there, presentations, and William has an entire renovation certification program in there. And so there's so much that we want to be able to do to help you. And so make sure and utilize that. If you're not signed up, then contact your Finance of America account executive and they can get you signed up. And then get the handouts. I'm going to post it again. It looks like some of you have jumped on late, I'm going to send out an email that will have a link to everything tomorrow. Some of you have asked if this is being recorded. Yes, it is being recorded. I always record unless I forget to hit record, which normally I don't because I'm OCD and I have 2 computers going. And so we do have a copy of the recording that we'll send out to you as well. I always post it on YouTube as well. And a lot of times we'll send an email follow-up. So with that, I'm going to get to our questions. So 2 things. Share your feedback with us. Let us know if this is helpful. A couple of things that we're going to do. The chart as far as the flow, and a lot of you have posted in there, yes, that would be very helpful. So we're going to work on that, and we will send that. I'm kind of thinking like a little diorama, kind of a graphic thing, William, that goes through the process. And maybe even like, would a handout be good for that? So maybe that could be like the little teaser for you to do a presentation that you can, maybe use a graphic and email it, or go into their office and give it to them, or invite them for coffee or something like that. So let me know if that would be something that would be beneficial in a handout, or if you want it in the presentation. So we'll create that. And then now we're going to get to questions. So William, we have a lot of questions. If you guys don't want to hang out for the questions, then you're free to go. I feel like a classroom here. If you don't want to stay for the questions, if you want to hang out and listen to the questions and answers, then please stay tuned. And then I'll make sure and follow up with you. We have had requests for the Eventbrite. You said the Eventbrite would be a good webinar to have, so we'll get that posted. And then also how to work in PowerPoint and embed videos and pictures and things like that. So those are the 3 things that we have from this. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so William, I'm going to go from the bottom and work up just because it's easier. So the first question, are interest rates any different on a rental loan?
Interest rates are different. They're usually anywhere from a half to a point higher because of the risk in selling into the secondary market before the property is completed, right? We securitize these, we sell them direct, we securitize them as soon as they're closed. And so the rates are higher, yes. And for home style, it's a paper rate sheet. It would be the last page of the rate sheet that gets distributed to you guys. And our 203K is on, I think you can find it in Optimal Blue, but also it's on our rate sheet as well. But rates are higher, yes. And most people do 2 transactions on a renovation loan. And they just view this as the cost of getting the house is the higher rate, but they're buying equity. And so after 6 months, they can refi, usually have enough equity to do that, and they refi to whatever rate they want for long term.
Okay, very good. So next question, how does Finance of America compare market share volume to the competition, Renovation and Homebridge specifically?
I think Homebridge is at the top of the heap, and I'm not sure where we are with regard to Renovation. Last time I checked, we were like number 7 in renovation loan volume that's reported. And I can only check on 203K because Fannie Mae doesn't reveal the home style data. So we've been in the top 10 for 203K lenders for a while. And as far as Homebridge is concerned, I built their platform for them before I was at Stonegate. That was Stonegate Mortgage. And that's HomePoint. HomePoint is a correspondent lender. Homebridge is a different company. I didn't actually build them. They've always been out there doing stuff. A lot of their stuff is broker business. I think we have better service than those 2 companies from what I've heard. In my correspondent days, people would actually run to me from those other companies. So give us a shot. If I don't know what you're asking about market volume, it has nothing to do with our expertise or our customer service. Give it a shot.
Absolutely. And really that's important too. So, it's not necessarily the best to work with those that have the highest percentage of market volume. What you want to look at is how they're going to support you. Excellent. And that's the most important thing.
And delivery.
So let's talk about support. We have a question. If I were to set up a lunch and learn at the local board of realtors with approximately 60 attendees, would it be possible to get a FAM representative to co-present?
I'd be happy to do that. Just let me know when. Got to put it on my calendar, right? Because I'm busy. I travel a lot making presentations. So I do go. You could get me to come. I type my information into the chat window so you have my contact information. Coordinate with me and your account exec. They probably want to be there as well. And we would be happy to come and do the presentation with you.
Yeah, and those things, that's great. So good thing in doing that, and set those kind of things up. So, I talked about set up a podcast, and that would be a fabulous thing to get William onto the podcast. And we do that. So that's a great idea. So Kenny, reach out to your account executive. Okay, so next question. Are clients able, this is from Sam, are clients able to move into the subject property while the renos are happening?
Yeah, it's really, we don't have any, like neither HUD nor Fannie Mae restricts the borrowers from moving into their house. They both expect them to move into it within 30 or 60 days unless it's a big renovation. So it really is up to the consumer and maybe their municipality. Like there are some houses that you can't move into until the county issues you a certificate of occupancy. But that wouldn't have anything to do with the lender. That's more property specific, location specific. We don't have any restrictions on when they can move into the property.
Okay, and next question. Who handles the draw?
So there's the draw process. The whole process includes a site inspection, documentation, title check, title update, and then funds distribution. Finance of America manages the funds. On 203K, we manage the entire process I just told you. On Homestyle, we use a third-party company to manage the on-site inspections and the paper chase to do the inspection. We handle the funds distribution through our accounting office. It takes usually anywhere from 5 to 7 days to get a check to the borrower, or we could wire directly to the builder if we had approval from the borrower to do that. And it's a two-party check generally. It's the borrower's name and the builder's name. It goes to the borrower, they sign it, hand it to the builder. So that's the draw process. We're not trying to hold anybody's money. As soon as we get the documents we need to release the funds, we send them overnight, UPS or FedEx.
Okay, and next question on down payment amount. Please clarify if the amount is based on after renovation value, or he said put in purchase price loan amount. So just like general question as far as what the down payment amount is based on.
Down payment is based on the money we lend to them. So if the total all in is 300 purchase plus renovations and their down payment is 3%, they're going to bring $9,000. Okay, that's all in. Even if the house appraises for 350 when they're done, we don't use the after improved value for the LTV calculation. It's based on the money that we lend to them.
Okay, and then the next question is, and this is a little more specific. So if a purchase price is $400,000 and the rental cost is say $80,000, but the actual repairs end up costing $90,000, which would then exceed the conforming loan limits, what would happen then?
So that's actually not how you calculate renovation loans. So my number one rule for successful renovation loan origination is to use the maximum mortgage worksheet to calculate your loan amount, because then you wouldn't even have this question, right? So what happens if it's 80? I mean, we can only lend to the county limit, and the worksheet will show you what that is. If they're over the county limit when the loan closes, they have to bring the funds to the table to make up the difference, or they have to scale back their project. But you have to do the worksheet. You can't scratch this out on a napkin, guys, because you're going to miss something. And please don't talk to your borrower based off of your scratch on a napkin, because you are going to tell them something that's not right. And when you come back with the right numbers, which are going to be higher, because it will be all inclusive, they're going to start to waver in their confidence and trust of your abilities. Got to use the worksheet.
Yeah, and so there's training too. We have recorded webinars that we've done in the past on how to use a maximum mortgage worksheet. Yep. So you can access those in FAMU. So just contact your account executive and go back and watch one of those recordings. We do them periodically, probably about every 3 months. We do a webinar on that. And so we may want to get back to that again and do another one next month, William, based on some of the questions we're getting.
These are good questions. You
guys are great.
Yep.
Okay, so is there a designated team of underwriters that handle rental loans exclusively at FAM?
There is. They are all part of my group. So all the underwriters are here in the Renovation and Construction Lending group. They used to report to me, but I'm doing sales now, so they report to our ops manager. And if you guys are staggered with our turn times, we're like 2 days on renovation loans. So go sell some renovation loans. We can get those underwritten for you pretty quickly.
Absolutely. They're wanting to know geographically where you're located at, William.
Me physically I sit in Carmel, Indiana, which is just north of Indianapolis, home of the Indy 500 and maybe someday Super Bowl champion Colts. Maybe someday. It's so painful.
Yeah, right. That's a loaded someday. Okay. And so we have a question. The question is, are the questions going to be included in the recording that you're sending us? Yes. So
Yes.
the questions, everything that we're talking about will be in the recording. So we'll be able to do that. So back to the last question, I think it's just a general question. What if they actually end up going over the cost of repairs and it exceeds the project cost? Does that come out of the consumer's pocket?
It comes out of the consumer's pocket. So every renovation loan is going to close with at least a 10% contingency reserve, which they can spend. So we build in a buffer of at least 10%, possibly 15%. But anything above that, they're out of pocket for.
Right. And that's the idea with the contingency reserve, is to give them a little bit of buffer. But then if it does go over that 10% contingency, then it's going to come out of their pocket.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got one more question in here that's come in, and that is, does the FHA 203K and home style work for investment properties, or is it only primary residence?
So FHA is only owner-occupied residences. Homestyle does allow investment properties, single-family investment properties, and they're at an 85% LTV.
Very good. Okay, so that is all I have for your questions. We got through all of them. Thank you, William, for doing that, and thank you for all of you for hanging in there. And I'll be sending an email with the follow-up. As I said, we do have a recording. Everything is going to be in there for you. And then additional questions, ideas, help, things like that, shoot us an email. Let us know how we can help you. And we want to thank all of you for being on the webinar today. And we look forward to seeing you next month on another webinar. So, William, thanks so much.
Thank you, Ginger. Thanks, everybody, for attending. Appreciate it.